Welcome back everyone, and thank you for joining me today. If you love hidden treasures, mysterious coins, and unbelievable stories where a tiny piece of metal can be worth more than mansions, supercars, and private jets combined, then you are in exactly the right place. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and controversial stories in American numismatics, the Liberty One Dime 1980 USA coin, a coin that most people would overlook, spend without thinking, or toss into a drawer, yet under rare circumstances has been linked to astonishing valuations reaching up to $260 million. This is not just a story about money, but about history, mistakes, human error, rare minting events, and the incredible possibilities hidden in everyday change. Imagine holding a dime in your hand, something so common that it feels almost worthless, something you might use to buy a piece of candy or leave as a tip without a second thought. Now imagine that same dime being so rare, so unusual, and so mysterious that collectors around the world would compete fiercely to own it, pushing its value into the hundreds of millions. That is the journey we are about to take together, uncovering how the 1980 Liberty One dime could become one of the most valuable coins ever discussed, not because of its face value, but because of the extraordinary errors, mistakes, mint mark anomalies, and rare possibilities associated with it. The year 1980 sits at an interesting crossroads in American history. The United States was dealing with inflation, economic uncertainty, and major changes in manufacturing and quality control. Coin production was massive, as the mint worked tirelessly to keep up with demand for circulating currency. During such periods, the pressure on mint facilities often increases the likelihood of mistakes. The Denver Mint, identified by the D Mint mark, was one of the busiest facilities in the country, producing millions upon millions of coins every year. Among those coins were dimes, officially known as Roosevelt dimes, but often referred to by collectors and the public as Liberty dimes due to the strong association of American coinage with the concept of liberty. While the standard 1980 D dime is generally considered common, worth only face value in circulated condition, the story changes dramatically when errors and anomalies enter the picture. Errors are not just accidents, they are frozen moments of malfunction, mechanical failure, or human oversight that transform an ordinary coin into a unique artifact. These errors can occur at any stage of the minting process, from the preparation of the planchet to the striking of the coin, to the application of the mint mark, and even during quality inspection and packaging. One of the most important factors in the potential value of a coin is rarity. Rarity does not always mean low mintage numbers, it often means low survival rates or unique characteristics. A coin that exists in only one or two known examples instantly becomes priceless in the eyes of collectors. The 1980 D Liberty One dime has been linked, in rare cases, to combinations of errors so extreme and so unusual that they challenge what is normally considered possible in modern minting. One of the most discussed possibilities involves dramatic off-metal strikes. In a standard process, dimes are struck on copper nickel-clad planchets specifically designed for that denomination. However, in rare circumstances, a dime can be struck on a planchet intended for another coin, or even on a foreign or experimental planchet. Imagine a 1980 D dime struck on a silver planchet, or on a planchet meant for a quarter or a foreign coin. Such an error would immediately stand out due to differences in weight, thickness, and sound. If such a coin were confirmed, authenticated, and found to be unique or nearly unique, its value could escalate into extraordinary territory. Another major category of errors involves double strikes and multiple strikes. These occur when a coin fails to eject properly after being struck and is hit again, sometimes multiple times, by the dies. The result can be a surreal image where design elements overlap, shift, or appear distorted. A 1980 D dime with an extreme multi-strike error, especially one that remains centered and visually dramatic, would be considered a masterpiece of error coinage. Collectors are drawn to coins that tell a clear story of what went wrong, and the more dramatic the story, the higher the demand. Mint mark errors are another crucial element in this discussion. In 1980, mint marks were still punched into the dies by hand, rather than being integrated into the master hub as they are today. This manual process opened the door to a wide range of mint mark anomalies. A D mint mark that is doubled, repunched, misplaced, or even missing entirely can significantly increase a coin's value. But the most extreme scenarios involve mint marks that appear where they should not exist at all, or coins that show evidence of two different mint marks, something that theoretically should not happen. A 1980 dime bearing conflicting mint mark characteristics would send shockwaves through the numismatic community. Die errors also play a massive role in the value potential of the 1980 Liberty One dime. Dies are the metal tools used to strike the design onto coins, and they can suffer from cracks, breaks, misalignments, and excessive wear. A cracked die can produce raised lines across the coin, while a broken die can leave dramatic blobs of metal known as cut errors. These features are not damage, they are part of the coin's original creation, and they serve as fingerprints of the specific die that struck the coin. If a particular die error is found on only one known 1980 dime, its uniqueness alone could push it into legendary status. Another extraordinary possibility is the existence of transitional errors. Transitional errors occur when the mint is changing materials, designs, or processes, and a coin is accidentally struck using elements from two different production eras. While 1980 was not a major transition year for dime composition, the mint was constantly experimenting with efficiency and tooling. A transitional error involving an experimental alloy, an incorrect die pairing, or a mismatched obverse and reverse could result in a coin that defies expectations. Such a coin would not just be rare, it would be historically significant. Condition is another factor that cannot be ignored. A coin's grade, determined by its level of preservation, plays a major role in its value. Most error coins are discovered in circulation and show signs of wear. However, if a 1980 Liberty One dime with a major error were discovered in near-perfect or mint-state condition, its value would multiply dramatically. High-grade error coins are exponentially rarer than their worn counterparts, and collectors are willing to pay staggering sums for pristine examples. The idea of a $260 million valuation may sound unbelievable, but it is rooted in the concept of ultimate rarity combined with extreme demand. In the world of collectibles, value is not determined solely by materials or age, but by desirability. When a coin becomes the subject of legend, debate, and intense competition among elite collectors, its price can soar beyond traditional logic. Wealthy collectors often seek items that no one else can own, and they are willing to pay almost any price to secure such exclusivity. The story of the 1980 Liberty One dime also highlights the importance of authentication. In a market where values can reach unimaginable levels, verification by professional grading and authentication services becomes essential. These experts use advanced technology, including microscopy, spectroscopy, and weight analysis, to confirm that a coin is genuine and that its errors occurred during minting rather than after the fact. A single authenticated example of an extreme error can change the way an entire year of coinage is viewed. Another layer of intrigue comes from the possibility of undiscovered examples. Millions of 1980 dimes were produced, and many are still sitting in jars, drawers, and old collections. The idea that a life-changing treasure could still be hiding in plain sight fuels the imagination of collectors and casual coin hunters alike. This sense of possibility is one of the reasons why stories like this capture so much attention and excitement. The human element cannot be overlooked either. Behind every error coin is a moment when something went wrong, when a machine malfunctioned, or when a worker missed a detail. These moments are rarely documented, making error coins silent witnesses to the imperfections of industrial processes. In this way, the 1980 Liberty One dime becomes more than just currency, it becomes a historical artifact that reflects the realities of mass production. Collectors are also drawn to the symbolism of liberty associated with American coinage. The dime, though small, has long represented the everyday economy, the coins of working people, and the flow of daily life. When such a humble object becomes extraordinarily valuable, it creates a powerful contrast that adds to its appeal. The idea that something so ordinary could become so extraordinary resonates deeply with people. Over the years, rumors, private sales, and whispered stories have circulated within the numismatic community about extraordinary 1980 dimes. While not all claims are substantiated, the persistence of these stories keeps interest alive. Even the possibility that such a coin exists is enough to inspire searching, studying, and collecting. The role of auctions also plays a part in potential valuations. High-profile auctions can drive prices far beyond expectations, especially when two or more determined bidders compete for a single item. In such scenarios, emotional attachment, prestige, and the "My dears," if you've ever wondered how an ordinary coin in your pocket could secretly be worth more than luxury cars, mansions, or even private islands, then you are in exactly the right place. Now we're diving into one of the most fascinating and surprising stories in modern American coin collecting, the Liberty One dime dated 2002 from the United States, struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, a small 10-cent coin that under extraordinary circumstances has been connected to values reaching as high as $313 million. This is a story about tiny details, overlooked mistakes, rare minting accidents, and how history, chance, and human error can turn a simple dime into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. At first glance, the 2002 Liberty One dime looks completely ordinary. It feels light in the hand, carries the familiar face value of just 10 cents, and often gets ignored or spent without a second thought. Millions of people have handled these coins over the years without ever imagining that some examples could be worth more than the combined earnings of generations. Yet this is exactly what makes coin collecting so exciting. The real magic is hidden in the details, in the smallest imperfections that most people never notice. The 2002 Liberty One dime is a perfect example of how rarity is not always about age, but about uniqueness. The year 2002 was not particularly unusual on the surface. The United States Mint was producing massive quantities of coins to meet everyday circulation demands. Both the Philadelphia Mint, marked with a P Mint mark, and the Denver Mint, marked with AD, were striking dimes in huge numbers. These coins featured the familiar Liberty design that Americans had known for decades, symbolizing freedom, resilience, and national identity. Because of this, collectors at the time did not rush to set these dimes aside. They were seen as modern, common, and unremarkable. But beneath that assumption, a small number of coins were being created with errors so rare and dramatic that they would later shake the numismatic world. To understand how a 10-cent coin can even be discussed in the same sentence as hundreds of millions of dollars, we need to explore how coins are made and how things can go wrong. Coin minting is a highly precise industrial process involving dies, planchets, presses, and strict quality control. However, despite advanced technology, mistakes still happen. When they do, and when those mistakes are not caught before the coins leave the mint, they can become some of the most valuable collectibles in existence. One of the most significant factors behind the extreme value associated with certain 2002 Liberty One dimes is the presence of mint errors. These errors are not scratches from circulation or damage caused after the coin left the mint. Instead, they are flaws that occurred during the actual production process. Collectors place enormous value on such errors, especially when they are dramatic, rare, and clearly identifiable as mint-made. Among the most famous and valuable errors are double die errors. A double die occurs when a coin die receives more than one impression from the hub, but the impressions are misaligned. This causes elements of the design, such as letters, numbers, or Liberty's features, to appear doubled. On a 2002 Liberty One dime, this could mean doubled date numbers, doubled lettering in inscriptions, or even doubling visible in Liberty's profile. Most double die errors are subtle and worth modest sums, but an extreme and perfectly preserved example could be unique or nearly unique. When rarity reaches that level, value becomes almost impossible to define, opening the door to extraordinary price claims. Another category of errors that has driven the value of certain 2002 dimes into legendary territory is off-metal strikes. This happens when a coin is struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or even a different metal composition. Imagine a Liberty One dime struck on a planchet meant for a cent, a foreign coin, or an experimental alloy. The result would be a coin with the wrong weight, thickness, and sometimes even color. These errors are incredibly rare, especially in modern coinage, because minting processes are tightly controlled. A confirmed off-metal 2002 dime, especially one linked to internal mint testing or transitional materials, could become one of the most famous error coins ever discovered. There are also wrong planchet errors involving size mismatches. A 2002 Liberty One dime might be struck on a planchet that is too small or too large, resulting in missing design elements or unusual shapes. If the coin still shows a clear date and mint mark, collectors can definitively tie it to its origin, making it far more desirable. When such an error survives in uncirculated or near-perfect condition, its value increases exponentially. Mint mark errors play another crucial role in the extraordinary valuation story surrounding these coins. The Philadelphia Mint traditionally did not use a mint mark on many coins in earlier years, but by 2002, the P mint mark was standard on dimes. A missing mint mark where one should exist, or a mint mark that is malformed, doubled, or punched over another mark, creates immediate collector interest. A 2002 dime with a dramatic mint mark anomaly could be one of only a handful known, or even a one-of-a-kind discovery. There have also been reports and discussions within collector circles about transitional errors involving the 2002 Liberty One dime. Transitional errors occur when a mint mistakenly uses old or experimental dies, planchets, or compositions from a different year or design period. If a 2002 dime were struck using a die not intended for public circulation, or one prepared with experimental features, it would represent a direct window into the internal workings of the mint. Such coins are often surrounded by mystery, speculation, and intense demand. One of the most dramatic possibilities that fuels the astonishing $313 million valuation is the idea of a unique specimen error. In the world of high-end numismatics, uniqueness is everything. A coin that is truly one of a kind, especially if it can be proven through expert analysis and documentation, exists in a category of its own. There is no comparable sale, no direct benchmark, and therefore no real ceiling on value. Wealthy collectors and institutions are sometimes willing to pay unimaginable sums to secure such a piece for prestige alone. Condition also plays a massive role in the valuation of any coin, especially error coins. A 2002 Liberty One dime with extraordinary errors but heavy wear would still be valuable, but not nearly as valuable as an example preserved in pristine condition. Coins that appear as if they were struck yesterday, with full luster, sharp details, and no signs of circulation, are exponentially more desirable. If an error coin of this magnitude were preserved in a top-grade condition, certified by a leading grading service, it could easily become the centerpiece of the entire modern U.S. coin market. The story of extreme coin values is not just about metal and mistakes, but about human psychology. Collectors are driven by passion, competition, and the desire to own something extraordinary. When a coin like the 2002 Liberty One dime becomes associated with record-breaking valuations, it attracts attention far beyond traditional collecting circles. Investors, museums, and even non-collectors begin to see it as a symbol of rarity and status. Auction dynamics further amplify these values. When two or more wealthy buyers become emotionally invested in acquiring the same unique coin, bidding wars can erupt. In such situations, logic often takes a back seat to desire. Prices can soar far beyond what anyone initially expected. A coin that might have been estimated at a few million can suddenly leap into the hundreds of millions if the right buyers are present and the story behind the coin captures their imagination. Another factor that cannot be ignored is provenance. Provenance refers to the documented history of a coin's ownership. If a 2002 Liberty One dime with extraordinary errors were discovered in a fascinating way, such as being found in everyday change, inherited from an unsuspecting family member, or linked to a former mint employee collection, its story would add immense value. Collectors love coins with stories, and a compelling narrative can dramatically increase desirability. It is also important to understand that the coin market operates differently from traditional financial markets. Values are not fixed and can change rapidly based on new discoveries, shifting collector interests, and media attention. A single news story or viral video can transform an obscure coin into a global sensation overnight. In the age of the internet, information spreads instantly, and demand can surge just as quickly. The 2002 Liberty One dime's association with a $313 million value represents the extreme upper boundary of what is theoretically possible in numismatics. It symbolizes the idea that even the smallest object can become priceless under the right circumstances. While not every 2002 dime will be valuable, the possibility that one could be life-changing is enough to inspire countless people to check their change more carefully. This phenomenon has encouraged a new generation of collectors to learn about minting processes, error identification, and coin grading. It has turned casual interest into serious study and has reminded people that history is not only found in museums, but also in the coins we use every day. When examining a 2002 Liberty One dime, collectors look closely at the date, the mint mark, the alignment of the design, the thickness and weight of the coin, and even the sound it makes when gently tapped. Every detail matters. Magnification tools, precise scales, and professional